Going to make a delicious little Spanish dish today of stuffed peppers. So it's a lovely little dish with some minced lamb, nice fresh peppers, and we're going to start off by making the sauce. So into a medium sized frying pan over a sort of a low to medium heat, we're going to cook these quite slowly, starting off with a little bit of carrot. I'm using the pure olive oil today, which is much better for cooking, from Don Carlos. And our onion. And we're just going to gently simmer those for about 3 or 4 minutes until they soften up. So you can see our onions and carrots have softened up really nicely. I'm going to add in my chopped parsley, tomato puree, and our flour. Now it's important at this stage to cook these ingredients out for about 2 to 3 minutes, just to really make sure that flour and tomato puree is cooked out. If you don't cook it, it would have that sort of little floury texture to the sauce. Now as that cooks out, I'm going to add in a little bit of water and my white wine. We're going to turn the temperature right down on that and just let it gently simmer until it starts to thicken up into our sauce. So our sauce there is starting to thicken up, as you can see, really low temperature. We're just going to leave that on for a second. Now we're going to start making the meat stuffing for our peppers. So in with a little bit of Don Carlos pure olive oil, perfect for cooking with. We're going to add our garlic, our onions, and the remainder of our parsley. Now as that gently sweats off, I've got some breadcrumbs here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to soften them up with a little bit of milk. Just let those soak. I'll season with a little bit of pepper, some salt, and before those onions start to take on any colour, I'm going to add in my minced lamb. Now we'll cook that out for about 2 to 3 minutes until it starts to take on some nice colour and the meat starts to caramelise. So our sauce is nearly ready, our meat is browning off. All we have to do is prepare our peppers. So straight on the chopping board, we're just going to cut through that pepper, and in the middle there, we're just going to remove any of those little seeds. Just use your hand to pull those out. And we're going to keep the top because that'll form a nice little lid that can sit on top. Just like that. So I'll prepare the rest of those peppers and then we can start to stuff them. So you can see our meat there has taken on some lovely colour. What I'm going to do now, making sure your hands are nice and clean, just grab those breadcrumbs and just sort of squeeze out any of the excess liquid and they can go straight in there. Stir that mixture up. You can see it's starting to brown up and thicken up perfectly now. Last little bit of seasoning, some salt, small amount of pepper. And now it's a case of just stuffing our peppers. So we'll go with one of each colour, a yellow, red, and a green. So now it's just a case of lifting those lids off and we can start to stuff our peppers. So just a generous big spoonful into the middle. Don't be afraid to really just wedge them full of that lovely flavour. Some stuffing, in that goes. Going back to our sauce, we're just actually got a little strainer over a bowl. In that goes. Just want to get rid of all the little bits. Making sure not to lose any of that goodness. And we'll just push it through our sieve. What you have in there is an absolutely gorgeous flavoursome sauce. Now if you're baking these in a little sort of oven dish, what you could do is you could put the sauce around the outside. I like to just spoon it up on top, down into that lovely lamb, And that's just gonna bake and crisp up and really will pack full of flavor. So in that goes. Now it's just a case of popping our little lids back on top. No harm giving it a little drizzle of our Don Carlos pure olive oil just over the top. A little sprinkle of salt on the outside of the peppers. And we'll just pop those into an oven at about 200 degrees centigrade, 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes. And when they come out, they're going to be absolutely gorgeous. Now my peppers have been in there for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm just going to take them out. And you just want to see the skin blistering like that. So as the meat's cooked through to the center, you've got all those lovely flavors and juices coming out of the center. And just very carefully, because they're still quite hot, just transfer them over onto your plate. All the flavor is in the center there. You don't even need to serve this with anything. Maybe a little simple salad, some bread, but you've got your vegetable with your meat in the middle. Maybe 2 per portion. And if I just lift up the lid to show you one in there, you can see that there's absolutely packed full of juices, loads of really tender meat, your tomato, your olive oil, all mixed through there. It's a very simple rustic Spanish dish of stuffed peppers with lamb.